Okay, and we have improved the models and algorithms in order to find the hidden patterns from these large data sets. But the problem that comes here is the computation factor for machine learning. So computation power for machine learning has been increased 100 times since 2010 from the literature. And the gains of CPU and GPU, the hardware, is almost stagnant in the latest generation. Not only that, the cost of GPU and CPU is also more. So it is, and the time that is required for computation is extremely large. It takes days to weeks to months because of the huge data set, which is increasing exponentially. So for all this, the go-to solution is you distribute the machine learning application to multiple processors and nodes. So what is this multiple processors and nodes? In order to have this picture, first I will introduce to a single node, that is the machine learning application that runs on a single node. So in these slides, you can see the data. So this data in which we are supposed to discover the knowledge. So discover the knowledge, we have to have some task, maybe a clustering task or the classification task or the association. So here we have taken a classification task. And in order to classify the data items, we require a model. So the model can be built for using a neural network, or you can also make use of a linear model depending upon what task you want to perform. So once this model is built, I have to find the quality of the model, whether it is a proper model, whatever I have built. So the notion of quality is measured by using a square distance, and you have many other measures also. So then this square distance measure, what is shown in the slide, can be improved by making use of an optimization procedure, that is stochastic gradient descent. So this everything should, if it is running on a single node, it requires huge amount of time. That is data, the task, the neural network, the mass square distance function, and the optimization procedure. So one node, it is huge. Instead of this, if I distribute the particular data set into multiple nodes, okay, so you have partition the data and distribute the data into n number of nodes. Similarly, the quality function or the model X is also distributed among n nodes. So the architecture, whatever we are using here, will be shared networking architecture. That means it has a capability of computing on its own. Finally, you can get the aggregated functions and finally merge all the results and get the output. So when we see this, when the data is distributed, when the model is distributed, okay, the time taken for computation will be less than compared to the single node. So for this distributing machine learning is the thing which we are going to discuss now. There are so many platforms that is available in the market today for the distributed machine learning application. That is nothing but parallel processing architectures are used for distributed machine learning. So what are the architectures? The architecture is one, MapReduce architecture and data flow architecture. So in the MapReduce architecture, we have many open source, okay, which uses MapReduce, that is Hadoop, Spark, DataTorrent, etc. But what is this MapReduce? When you use this MapReduce, first thing what I do is I partition the data, and each of the partition will be given to the map function. This map function will convert the data into key value pair. After that, the key value pair will be given as an input to the reduce function. So it involves the computation of both map function and also the reduce function. So again, it is a huge time. Okay, even though it is an open source, it takes time for computation of map reduce. Okay, so the limitations of map reduce are the architecture is, as you can see in the right side, the security problem, easy to use. There is no iterative processing. And if I want to collect the data from the sensors and then analyze, it is not possible. So no real-time processing. And the speed is also very less. And you have small file concerns. These are the concerns that is there in the MapReduce. In order to avoid this concern, there is one more type of architecture that is called data flow architecture. So in this architecture, you have n number of nodes, and each of the nodes is connected by the data queue. That means, given a program, the program is divided into n number of program units. Each of the program unit is represented by a graph. In the graph, you have nodes and the data queues. The nodes here is nothing but the operations, and the data queue will be moving around the graph. So whenever the operation or the computation is required, the node will take the data into picture and then compute. So here, the computation will be faster when compared to the MapReduce by using this architecture. How, in order to go in depth, we shall see the HPCC architecture, which is an open source lightweight system, and that is developed by LexisNexis Solutions. Okay, so this HPCC systems makes use of data flow architecture instead of MapReduce. So in this HPCC architecture, as you can see, you have the parallel construct components, that is the Tor cluster and Roxy cluster. What is this Tor cluster is? As you know, in a big data, you have different types of data. You have structured, you have semi-structured and unstructured data. So in order to extract, transform and load, and to take any schema, for the structured data, you have relational, unstructured data, you have anything, take stars, snowflake, fact, constellation, etc. So irrespective of this, the Tor cluster takes anything. Okay, it is nothing but a data refinery engine. And it gives the user control over the data transformation and facilitates operational, that is optimal operational facility or the capacity on the mixed schema data. Okay, this is one thing, HPCC system architecture mainly used for data refinery. So irrespective of what type of data, it is going to process it. Next, coming to Roxy cluster. This Roxy cluster is the search engine. It takes the real-time queries through the interfaces such as REST, SOAP, and XML. And it is built in such a way that the latency that is associated with a query is reduced. Okay, so these are the two components which helps for parallel and also reducing the time for computation. And one more thing what we have in this HPCC system architecture is ECL. So ECL stands for Enterprise Data Control Language. Okay, it is just an object-oriented language, that is high-level language for parallel data processing. And as I told, it makes use of data flow architecture. It has implicit, parallel, and declarative constructs so that it simplifies the parallel and compute operations. So, but it is nothing like you have to learn the ECL language. You can write the code using C++ or Python and embed it into the ECL. Okay, so this architecture makes it very simpler when compared to an Hadoop or any other distributed platforms which uses MapReduce technology. So what are the advantages of HPCC architecture for distributed machine learning? So it is an highly integrated system environment, and it is having the capacity of raw data processing and to perform the high performance queries and data analysis using a common language, ECL. That means what sense is it is an open source. We have an ECL library wherein you can contribute to this particular ECL bundle. So all APIs will be available. Then optimized cluster approach. So if you have, you can have a cluster which is made up of a hardware, that is commodity hardware. So the cost is again saved here. It is stable and reliable processing environment, and it is proven in production application for many organizations over a 15-year period. So 15 years this HPCC system have been used, and it has been proven in the market. Then it has an innovative data-centric programming language, that is ECL, and it is also high-level fault resilience. And that means if, for example, the system breakthrough is there in between when you are processing the data, it will start from the break. It did not have to go from starting point of the data. And it is suitable for a wide range of data-intensive application. Okay, so these are all the advantages of HPCC system architecture. Now, in order to make use of this architecture and run the machine learning applications, so in this session, I'm taking one particular example, that is a case study, that is DBSCAN, density-based spatial clustering application with noise. The reason for me to choose this application rather than choosing the other machine learning algorithms, that is, or any clustering application, that is partitioning and hierarchy is. The reason is you can have the noise here. You can eliminate the noise here. You can find out the noise in the data set and eliminate it easily. Suppose if I take care of this partitioning algorithm, that is k-means, k-medoids, etc., the noise cannot be detected. And the cluster, whatever you get from the from this particular method, that is partitioning method or an hierarchical method, it is of a shape either a circle or an ellipse. But in this density based, you get an arbitrary shaped cluster. That means the points which are densely connected will be recognized as a cluster. So that is the main feature of DBSCAN, okay, which can be made, this particular algorithm can be utilized for any application, maybe for the video processing or image processing, it can use, wherein it can eliminate the noise easily. So as these are the major features, that is, discover the clusters of arbitrary shape, it handles the noise, and only one scan is required. But whereas in the partitioning, that is K-based, you have to scan each time the database and see where exactly the data point will meet the requirement of the cluster. But here, in order to terminate this particular DBSCAN, you require the density parameters, so, and which is used as a termination condition. This is one thing. Okay. So what are these density parameters? So you have something called EPS. EPS is nothing but the radius of the neighborhood. That means for each data point, within the radius, we are going to count how many data points are there. So those data points are nothing but the neighbors of this particular point. For example, in the picture, if you can see Q, so the radius is given by epsilon. So within the neighborhood of Q, how many data points are there? So we have to define the minimum number of points. Suppose I say, for example, if I say 3, if the 3 points are there, then I assume that this particular Q is a core point, and it is, you can have it in a cluster. Okay. So n EPS of P, that is the neighborhood of the P, is nothing but Q belongs to D. D is a data set. Q belongs to D if distance of P comma Q, that is less than or equal to the epsilon. Okay. Similarly, I have to go on connecting the points to this particular core point. For that, you have directly density reachable. So directly density reachable is nothing but a point P is directly density reachable from point Q with respect to the radius and minimum points if P belongs to the neighborhood of Q and the core point condition, that is the neighborhood of Q, is greater than or equal to the minimum number of points. If this condition is satisfied, okay, I can connect it. So this makes a cluster which will be of arbitrary shape. And this is an ordinary DBSCAN, and any book you refer, okay, machine learning book with clustering algorithm will give you this particular algorithm in detail. Okay. So in order to go for the sequential approach, so we have to define 3 points. One is the core point, a border point, and the outlier. So given an epsilon and the minimum points, we have to categorize the data objects into these 3 groups. So a point is said to be a core point if it has more than the specified number of points. That is, minimum number of points we have to give within this radius, that is epsilon. So these are the points that are in the interior to the cluster. Similarly, you have a border point. Border point is, again, it has fewer than the minimum number of points within the epsilon, but it is in the neighborhood of the core point. So again, the border point can be considered as a densely connected, we can include it in a cluster. So whenever I don't have any point, okay, within the radius, then I consider this as an outlier. That means it is a noise, or I can analyze this outlier, whether it is a noise or something else. What is it? Okay, I can do that. Okay, these are the 3 things that is necessary, and you can code it by making use of the sequential DBSCAN algorithm. So sequential DBSCAN algorithm, if I do it, the main drawback, okay, the main drawback is it is computationally inefficient when applied to the large amount of data points, especially in the big data platform. As you can see, there are so many number of points. Each point I have to find out what are all the neighbor point. Then I have to classify whether it is a core point, border point, or an outliner. So when I go sequentially, it takes huge amount of time. So what is the go-to solution here? Make use of parallel DB-scan algorithm and run it on the HPCC systems big data platform. Why on HPCC big data platform? Because it has a capability. What is that capability? We'll still see in the next slide. So in order to have a parallel DB-scan algorithm, first thing is I have to set up a cluster. Okay. So we have experimented this in our lab. So the cluster with 4 nodes, and each node, okay, you can see the specification, architecture, and what is the CPU, what is, so this is a basic specification. Okay, so we have set up again 4 nodes, and HPCC we have installed. So we have now the hardware part is ready. Now we have to involve the data set and run and make the DB-scan algorithm parallel and run on this particular cluster. Okay, the data set that we have used here is Frogs dataset, MFCC dataset, which is freely available in the Kaggle dataset. So the dimensions that is taken is 20 here. Now, for parallel DB-scan algorithm, there are 3 things that has to be taken into consideration. First thing is spraying the data. Spraying the data, as you already know, the data is huge here. So this spraying will be taken care by a Tor engine. Okay, Tor engine, which is there in the HPCC platform. It distributes the data points and assigns the global unique IDs across the nodes in cluster evenly. So each of the nodes, 4 nodes, we have a data sets, and the Tor will distribute. Okay, evenly we have it. Then what will happen is each of the local nodes, okay, local nodes, it will sort the data points with the unique IDs. Whatever ID is there, it will not change until the end. Okay, so this is about spraying the data. After the data is sprayed, it sends to the local clustering stage. So this is a very important stage. What this will do is each of the node, okay, it will cluster the data points that is given by making use of a tree data structure. You have 2 operations here, disjoint operation. One is the find operation and the union operation. So find operation, what it will do is, for each of the data point, it will find the parent point. And that parent point will be the highest core point. Okay, so highest core point. And the union, what it will do is, it will form the trees. And the final cluster is represented by the highest core point. So exactly, this is a very the thing, it requires huge amount of computation here also, local clustering. You have 4 nodes, data is distributed now. So in each of the node you have data. So the data is again having the unique ID. The first thing is each data point will have a pointer which is returning to the parent ID itself. That means I'll assume that each of the data point is a NOR core point. Then afterwards what I will do, each of the point which is a neighbor to the data point, we will check. Okay, so whether it is a core point or not. Then I go on building the tree just by making use of these 2 operations, find and union. And this local clustering will not only take care of the data points which is there in that particular node, but also in the other nodes, remote nodes. Okay, if the algorithm is here, you can see there. Okay, the find operation. Okay, find operation, it is used to find the parent. Okay, that is the highest core point of a data point. So similarly, union is, okay, you can see there, if X is the core and Y is not the core. Okay, then Y of parent will be equal to X. Means it is going to return a point, okay, which is having the highest number. Okay, so this is the local DB-scan algorithm. You have A is equal to X union Y. That means we are not only taking the data points of the local thing, but also from the other nodes. And then using this algorithm, the output of this algorithm, what we are going to get is nothing but the trees. Okay, so it is nothing but the trees. These trees will be represented by a cluster, and the cluster ID will be the highest core point. So that is the output of this local DB-scan. Okay, so that is local clustering. But of the output contains the overlapping points. What is this overlapping points? As I told you, you have the points, okay, the data points which are remote, isn't it? So those points may be repeated in each of the tree. Now I have to swap. That means I have to find out where exactly that point belongs to. Okay, I have to merge that. In order to do so, you have something called global merge. So global merge, what it will do is trees are merged together to form the global clusters, and as the point may belong to more than one tree in different nodes. Okay, so the final output of the global merge are nothing but the final clusters that are obtained and are represented by the highest score point across all the nodes. Okay, so this is how parallel DBSCAN algorithm works. Okay, so you have three things, that is spraying the data, local clustering, and global merge. And this is the contribution, okay, which our team, okay, the research scholars, Yatish and team, the final year BE, okay, undergrad students have contributed for this HPCC platform. Okay, so when we check the results, you can see here the size, as and when the size increases, and you have also, we have to give epsilon, okay, epsilon, the radius, and what is the minimum point. You can see there time in the single node, what is as in second it is measured, and time as and when the time goes on decreasing. We have tried with only 4 nodes. As and when the number of nodes increases, okay, the time for computation also reduces. Okay, so this is the results, whatever we have here. Okay, so next is this is the contribution that we have made for the open source HPCC platform. So what we can conclude here is it is a multi-node setup, and it outperforms a single node setup in all the cases. It increases the data points, increase in the data points increases the parallel algorithm, and it performs better than its serial counterpart. So HPCC platform supports cross-platform developments in the languages such as C++, Python, etc. Okay, which makes it to develop application for a faster pace. It is nothing like you have to go through the ECL coding, but only thing is you have to see how you can interface C++ or Python in the ECL. Then Tor and Roxy components of HPCC platform, it enables faster data ingestion and data query across multiple nodes. So this makes it efficient in implementing machine learning algorithm. And the platform here parallelizes the sequential algorithm across multiple nodes efficiently. So this is the one which we have contributed. Like this, there are several research contributions that RVCE has made towards this HPCC open source platform. So you have something called MQTT protocol. This is the protocol which is used to take the data from the sensors, that is real-time data. Mainly it is used for IoT application. So we have contributed this to the Roxy. That means it is already available as the GitHub repository. You can just note it if you are interested. Then you have automated data skew profiler. So this automated data skew profiler is huge amount of data. I want to find out where exactly the skew is happening. Okay, what is the necessity of the skew? Analyzing of the skew. Okay, that also we have contributed. And similarly, extending the current ML library with LexisNexis HPCC systems. This is the one DBSCAN tree project we have contributed to this. Then OpenCV, that is image processing library in HPCC. That means the OpenCV, which is again an open source, basically used for image processing. So a driver or a plugin has been developed and it has been contributed to the HP system. Okay, so you can have image processing on HPC system also. Okay, then one more thing, the fraud detection in value-based cards, that also was a contribution here. Evaluation of machine learning algorithms. This was a very interesting project wherein the machine learning algorithms which is already available in the ECL, okay, ECL bundle. ECL bundle is already there in the HPCC. So what we have done is we have seen each of the machine learning algorithm, what are the evaluation metric. Okay, if some of the evaluation metric may be true positive, no precision, accuracy, if some of the things has not been met here, we have contributed to it. Okay, so interfacing Octave with ECL. So you have a MATLAB, isn't it? Octave is again is the MATLAB, which is not, it is a licensed version. The open source version is again an Octave. Okay, so we have also developed a plugin. Okay, plugin for Octave. So any MATLAB functions can also be done using this particular in the HPCC platform. Similarly, continuous integration of Roxy query for data deployment using Jenkins. Even Jenkins also for deployment of data, we made the portable using Jenkins. These are all the contributions that were made by our college students and the faculty. So I would like to acknowledge this the faculty here, Professor Jyoti Shetty and Vasant, okay, who takes care of HPCC the systems here, okay, and all the students, okay, 10 students who have already contributed to the open source HPCC platform. And still the projects are ongoing. Currently working students, as you can see, 6 students are working. Okay. Now what we saw in the DB scan, there are there is one disadvantage. So what is the disadvantage is you have to input the epsilon and also that is epsilon is the case, the radius, and also the minimum number of points. So we are again making use of adaptive DB scan, where it automatically, depending upon the data sets and a data set, automatically it will find out what should be the radius and what should be the minimum points. Okay. So that shortly we are going to publish it. Okay. So similarly, one more project that is going on is we are developing one language. Okay. That is done by Atreya, Ben and Anurag. Okay. So developing a language for HPCC, that is called HSQL. So it makes the life of the data scientist easier. That means you need not have to remember the API, the name, and all those things. Okay, just by making use of a natural language. Okay, by making use of a natural language, we can process the data on the HPCC platform. Similarly, the last batch, that is Ambu and Rohit, they are making use of a GAN, that is a GAN protocol, which is they are again porting that GAN protocol, which is mainly used for image processing, onto the ECL bundle. So these are currently going on, and shortly by 1 or 2 months, we will be again porting it into the GitHub. Okay. So this is the presentation all about. Thank you all for listening. I would like to have the questions. If you have any questions, okay, you can put it into the chat box, and I can revert back to you now, depending upon the time constraint. Chat box. Any questions?
Ma'am, somebody has asked how to fix or select optimal epsilon in DB scan.
Yeah. See, in DB scan, no, we are going to fix depending upon the data set. Okay. So in adaptive, what we are doing is based upon the data set, how well it is densely connected. Okay. We are going to analyze that particular data set. Okay. Based upon that, a threshold will be fixed. Okay. For each of the clustering, no, the epsilon goes on changing. It is a dynamic thing. Okay. So that is nothing but adaptive DB scan. We are making use of grid search, okay, and a kernel density function to do this. Even that will be we will put it in the GitHub repository shortly. Okay, our student Varsha and Akhil are working on that, and it will be an API on the HPCC platform. Any other questions?
There's another person who has asked more about fault resilience. I want to understand that a little better.
What is that?
Fault resilience.
Fault resilience. See, fault resilience is nothing but you have a huge data. So we are processing it. So in between, the system fails. So once the system recovers, I do not have to go from the start. So wherever it has left, okay, we can just proceed with the processing of the data, and that there is been taken care by the TOR engine in HPCC.
Another person has asked if in ECL all ML algorithms are available.
Sorry, in ECL is all, no. That's what. So RVC has collaborated with HPCC in order to make the ML algorithms or port the ML algorithms to the HPCC platforms. So right now, all algorithms I cannot say, but partitioning, okay, K-means. Then we have started with the DBscan. Okay, so all in the sense there are so many, okay, so many algorithms. Basic algorithms are right now available. So if you are developing any algorithm, you can contribute to the open source. Basic algorithm, K means K medioids, and all basic things, the hierarchical clustering. Hierarchical clustering, I doubt it is not there. But in the density based, we have DBscan. Adaptive DBscan is not there. We are working on that. Like that, if you also can collaborate, if other students or other colleges, if you have participated in this session, you can also collaborate with like HPCC as a collaborator. Yeah, it can be applied to the data, real-time data. That is what we have done. We have MQTT protocol, okay? So it is there, but it is not that well versed. But real-time data from the census can be taken, okay? Can be analyzed. That's what. But we have not tried it out. But we have done that, as you can see, the opens as I showed you, we have contributed the support of MQTT protocol on the Roxy, okay? That application we have not tried it out exactly. So what is the takeaway from this session is, so HPCC is growing. Okay, it is an open source platform. Anybody can contribute it. Okay, so before contributing, you just have to find out what are the things that is already available. If you are interested in ML, and what is that you can contribute. Okay, so the contribution what we have done is, as I told, MQTT we have contributed, and Octave plugin we have developed for HPCC. Similarly, DBscan, okay, parallel DBscan we have contributed. So, similarly, adaptive DBscan shortly we will be contributing. So like that we have contributed. Similarly, in the same way, you can also contribute it. So it will make, it will be easier when compared to the other distributed. Mainly we use Hadoop. So Hadoop, when we see the time and all, no, the accuracy will be same. Whether I use Hadoop or any what is that, HPCC platform, the accuracy will be same. But the time for computation, no, it will be less in the HPCC platform. Yeah. You can explore HPCC existing functionality. You have a site there. That is, I'll pass it on. You can just Google it. Okay, HPCC LexisNexis. You can go through it. Okay, they have given the entire links and all. Okay. So if you the same, I can pass it to you. Not right now. If you can mail me, I can just provide it. Or you can Google also ECL library. So everything is open source and things are clearly available. And you can also see, the last slide I have given the references. Okay, the first reference whatever I have given is the contribution of our college. But similarly, when you go in depth, there are many colleges that have contributed. You can have a look on it. What are the other people have contributed to the HPCC platform? So today's talk was only with respect to RVC, whatever we have done. So any questions?
If anyone has any questions, they can enter it in the Q&A section or in the
Or if
chat.
any workshop you would like to have, okay, I have shown you the open source thing, isn't it, in the reference. If you want that detail to be explored, we are ready to have a session on just each of the repository, whatever I have shown. Okay, and we can also do a workshop on ECL. Okay, if you are interested, we can take it forward. We can always show with the help of students and faculty. We can show how the working of the DBscan algorithm or adaptive DBscan or HSQL, how it works. We can show it.
Any more questions?
Ma'am, we can wait for 1 more minute in case anybody has any questions.
Okay, no issues.
Until then, everyone is please requested to fill the feedback form that's been sent in the chat.
Yeah, if you have any questions or if you are exploring it and if you find any problems, we are always there here. Okay, we have a team here at RVCE who are working on this HPCC platform. So you can always revert back to us. And as I told you, we are ready to conduct workshops and all. Okay, free workshops, free webinars on this HPCC. So my mail ID I will be dropping here in the chat box. Here okay, my mail ID is Shobhaji, to host privately. I have sent it to Risha, I think it is private mode. So Risha, if you can share this mail ID to, or everyone is there, presenter, all attendees. Okay, I'll share it here. Okay, this is the mail ID. You can drop me the mail. If anybody is interested to know more about HPCC, I can always revert it.
If there are no questions, then we can conclude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. As the madam suggested, if you have any queries, you can reach her through the email, and she will be happy to answer your queries.
Okay, thank you all for participating in this session. And I also thank Dr. Ashok Kumar and Risha Desai for organizing this talk. Okay, if anything else is related, I will be happy to conduct workshop on HPCC. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.
Okay, all the participants. So on behalf of IEEE Computer Society Student Chapter, I thank Dr. Shobha Madam for giving this informative webinar on improving a performance of an ML by using an HPC systems, right? And also I thank all the organizers, Risha Desai and our team for organizing this webinar. And also I thank all the participants who are from our college and outside our college, and also the faculty who are attending this webinar. Thanks. Okay.
Slow again.
Ma'am, you can stop sharing the screen.
Okay.